In this video, we're going to be looking at presenter controls. Presenter controls allow you to control the presentation directly from the main SportsVoteCount window instead of from the presentation itself. This is a very useful feature that gives you easier control over the presentation, as well as the ability to access your computer during the presentation. To use this, you need two things. Number one is to have a second display connected to your computer. This can be a projector, external monitor, or any other type of screen. Number two is to ensure Windows is set up to extend the display. The easiest way to do this is to press the Windows key and P on your keyboard, and this window will appear. This may look different depending on what operating system you're using, but the options will be the same. The default is generally duplicate. You want to set this to extend. Now that the screen is set up properly, we can use our presenter controls. To start, we'll go to the presentation screen. Presenter controls support any type of presentation, be it votes, slide groups, or schedules. To start, we'll just load up a single vote file as normal. So we'll select Senior Football and Start. You can now see the presentation in the bottom corner of this video. You won't see this in the program. This is just for the video so you can see both windows. We can now go to the Presenter Controls tab. And this is where we can fully control that presentation directly from these buttons here. So to start, we select the presentation and we press this button, Link Presentation. So you can see this screen is now ready. Anything we do here will be applied to our presentation itself. You may also notice that we can actually see previews of the votes before they're displayed on the presentation screen. So if we press Continue Next Vote here, you'll see it is then shown on the presentation, and we can again see it on the presenter controls. So we can then go to the next round, and again we can see previews for this match. These can be disabled from the Preferences tab if you don't want to see the previews. We can then skip forward a few rounds, and you can also see the current round number and current match number as well. So from presenter controls, we can always see the full leaderboard as well. But as you can see on the presentation, as normal, they can only see the top 5. Without presenter controls, you'd normally just press the L key on your keyboard, and that will pop up. But we have these buttons for all of those functions. So if we go ahead and push the Show Full Leaderboard button, you can see the full leaderboard is now shown on the presentation screen. And our standard leaderboard controls are right here if we need to change the page. And we can then just hide the full leaderboard to go back to the normal screen. We also have buttons for the other standard functions the presentations have. So we can show and hide the on-screen buttons. With presenter controls, there's no need for them because we're controlling it from here, so we can just keep those off. You can also hide the vote totals and leaderboards from here. And as you can see now, we can still see everything, but on the presentation screen, they're hidden. Then as normal, there's the option to enable auto run, to have it run through by itself. And then we can just disable that. So we'll now skip through to the end, and we can see the final results. So now the presentation is now showing the final results, and we can still see the full leaderboard. And as always, we can just push the Show Full Leaderboard button, and that will bring up the full leaderboard for them. And then hide that again. And we can then just close this presentation, or at any time during the presentation, we can just press the button up here. And that will close that window. We can now load up a schedule that I created earlier, so we can start this presentation. And again, the same as last time, we then link the presentation. Now this one's opened up with a custom slide that I created, so if we continue, it'll then go to the first votes. So this will continue through, just the same as the last one. So we can now just skip through to the final results of this one. And now as this is a schedule, when we continue here, it'll then go to the next presentation. So this is a custom slide group, so if we continue now, it'll show the results of that. Go to the next one. And then again, it'll load up the next vote file. The benefit of using a schedule is that you can also skip between presentations on demand. You do this by selecting the current presentation title and selecting which one you want to go to. So if I want to go back to the senior football presentation, I just press that, and senior football will load up. I can then just jump forward to the awards one again, and the awards will show up again. One use of this is just to have nicer transitions between presentations. So when one presentation finishes, you can then just load up a custom slide just to show on the screen. So if we go ahead and load up senior football, and jump through to the end, now the final results are shown. At the conclusion of this one, I can then just go to the background, and then that will just be shown on the screen until we're ready to go to the next one. When we're ready, I can change to the awards. When this one's done, I can then go back, have that on the screen, until we're ready to continue to the next one. It's also useful just in case your program gets changed on the night, so you don't have to quit out and open it, you can just switch between them on the fly. Finally, a major benefit of using presenter controls is that you still have full access to your computer during the presentation. So at any time I can minimize this window, and I can open up Word or any other file on my computer, and the presentation won't be affected at all. And if I bring back my main window here, I can then go to the vote screen as well, and look at all of the other votes that I've got. I can't change anything while there's a presentation running, or else I'll need to close the presentation and reopen it, but I can still look at everything. And after all that, if I go back to the presentation screen, I can then just continue, just on as normal. And that is the very useful feature that is presenter controls.